Welcome everybody to our webinar today. Thanks for taking a December day to join us. Excited to for the content we have. There's amazing content coming your way today. Super excited about it. I don't know about any of you. Maybe we can get started here with a quick throw into the chat, and we'll know you're here. Let us know what's the temperature where you are. Who's got the coldest temperature where you are, and what the temperature is. Who's got the warmest today? Because I'm in the Pacific Northwest, Eastern Washington, and I've got all of about 30 degrees outside. It's a warm, balmy 30 degrees, but we have snow on the ground. We got 3 inches on the ground, and we've got more coming. So for all of you in the warm temperatures, I'll be a little bit jealous, but then I also got snowboarding coming next weekend. So, because that's what I look forward to this time of year. What about you, Ryan? What's the temperature in Georgia today?
I think it's like low 40s and miserably
All right.
windy.
All right.
Um, I wish I was snowboarding
Yeah, see,
this
I
weekend.
got I got the cold. You'll have some nice, you have better winter weather, but for us it's snow. And so as long as the snow's
Yeah,
coming, we're
I
snowboarding
would
this
I would
weekend.
rather it
It'll
snowed
be
than just be
Yeah,
nasty and cold.
exactly. 40 degrees is kind of like the worst. It's just too cold
Yeah,
and windy to go do something.
yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks everybody for jumping in and sharing that. And we'll get this conversation started. Um, Super excited today to introduce you to Ryan Cunningham. I'm Matt Morris. I'm the CEO of EncorEstate Plans, and we had middle of this year, we at Encore began to see just a brand new advisor that started with us absolutely crushing it. and we went, what, where is this coming from? Who's this guy doing all these plans out of nowhere? And this is Ryan Cunningham. And Ryan and his wife Paige are the founders of Your Wealth in Woodstock, Georgia. He's a CFP. He's also alum of University of Georgia. So big weekend coming up for you in the SEC championship. But Ryan just got started really just about 7-8 months ago with Encore, and has taken off. I think you're now over 75 plans in the first 6 months. And so it caused us to kind of reach out and go, what's going on there for you, Ryan? How you doing what you're doing? And through that conversation, Ryan was just incredibly generous with his willingness to peel back how he's doing what he's doing and how he's leading with estate planning in seminar marketing. And so we asked him and said, would you come and be willing to share, that with a larger group of advisors? And so incredibly generous that he's willing to peel back his secret sauce on the webinar front today. So Ryan, welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Yeah,
And
thanks for giving me the opportunity.
and how much do you hate Alabama? Football is that?
It's a burning passion. Yeah, I won't even work with an Alabama fan. So,
Okay, well, oh man.
I'm
Well,
just
I
kidding.
can't call myself a fan, but
Oh gosh.
I went to a game one time and I got a hat. And so I always root for the underdog, and Alabama hasn't been an underdog in a lot of years. And
No, they
so
haven't.
I
And
have
my
the
oldest
hat.
wants
That's
to
all
go
I
to
got.
Alabama, so it's kind of
Oh no.
it's a touchy subject in my house.
Well, good luck this weekend. Maybe if Georgia wins, that'll make her rethink. I don't know. You can
Yeah,
hope, right?
yeah, one would hope.
Well, cool. So here's where we're going with today's conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about just seminars and estate planning as a topic at seminars, why and how that works, and how attendance works, and how that's working for Ryan. Then we're just going to run through Ryan's process. He's going to tell you
Yeah,
everything from who he invites to how he gets them there, what his call to actions are, what his process is, and then how Encore fits into that process, and the success of engagement with being able to leverage Encore, and how that it turns out into assets and everything else for his wealth management business. Q&A, we'd love to hear your questions as we go. Chat sometimes will get unwieldy if you throw it in there. Use the Q&A if you have questions for us. We have Victor, the great Victor at Encore, our marketing team, here to kind of answer questions as they come in. But if it's anything topical that we're on at the moment, we'll stop and we'll ask Ryan. So throw your questions in the Q&A, and it'll help us keep them organized a little bit. But we'd love to hear your engagement as we run here. And so throw questions our way throughout. So I'm going to come off sharing actually, I hadn't yet shared my screen, so I don't need to. So Ryan, let's just go from here. Um, Tell me kind of, your background. I think you've had years of kind of doing seminar marketing. What's your background on that? How you
Yeah.
came to, in the last couple of years, solving for thinking about estate planning as a topic. Give us a little bit of the background of how you got started doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 20 years. We've been in and out of seminar marketing throughout that 20-year period. Um, and really dove back into it a year and a half ago when we joined a new IMO and started doing dinners and then really just transitioned into educational events because I got tired of the plate lickers. Um, and so about a year and a half ago, um, some friends of mine and some of the marketers with our IMO were like, hey, you really ought to be thinking about estate planning. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I've done estate planning for the entire time I've been in this business. I just referred business out to 20 or 30 attorneys that we've used. And so my hesitation had always been, you know, how do I recoup my cost of an event and then turn it into a positive for my firm if I'm giving it all out to somebody else? Um, and we tried a number of events with attorneys, and it turned out exactly like I thought it was, where I was just padding their pocket. And then it was extremely difficult to get the client re-engaged with me, and back into our firm after they would do the work, and then the attorneys, unfortunately, or just because of who they are, didn't push the asset management side of things like we would. And so we started doing research last January. We tried a couple of different other groups, and then came upon Encore in I think April or May
Mm-hmm.
of 25, and started implementing you guys into our system.
And so, kind of give us maybe the start of how you're getting the engagement initially. We've heard great things, and maybe validate this. Um, just the effectiveness you've had. Maybe let's start there. What's the effect in the last 6 months on your business since you started doing working with Encore on the back end and doing the seminars up front?
Yeah, so just on the estate side, we do one event every week, one live
Okay.
event on estate planning every single week. We do other events on other topics, but just on estate planning. And so doing that pretty consistently since June, um, it has brought in 25 million in assets into our business on top of, a small planning fee that we charge for the plans through Encore. But, it has really catapulted and stretched us and grown us in a level that we weren't ready for, to be
Mhm.
honest. But it's opening doors, left and right, not just with assets, not just with planning fees, but with life insurance, with retirement, with legacy planning, business opportunity planning. And it's something that, we have extreme goals for 2026 with, and what we're going to do and how we're going at it.
So far, the first 6 months in, your success has even surpassed what your expectations were, if
A
you
hundred,
hadn't.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, so I've been doing live events all of 2025, my first 6 months, where we would maybe do event a week on retirement or taxes or whatever it is. We brought in 6 million, okay, in
Okay.
new assets in the first 6 months of the year. To then from June 1 to today, we're at just over 25 million in new assets.
And you must still have a lot queued up that's still coming, even from the work you've done.
We do, yeah. I mean, our
That's not,
pipeline is extreme.
yeah,
Um, so we do events. We've had some time of trying to figure out the best time to do events with Facebook
yeah.
changing their marketing and how
Okay.
you can go about and how you can't really target people anymore. So we changed our timing up as to when we were doing events. We don't do them all at night anymore. We do some lunchtime
Okay.
events to try to limit the younger crowds. Um, but it's a hot topic, and we do a lot of digital. We do a lot. Of Billboard. I do a lot of radio.
Okay.
Um, and it fills our room, and then we get a lot of referrals.
Yeah.
I mean,
So let's talk about exactly that. Kind of the how are you marketing the event? Where are you hosting it? Is it all live? Are you doing any webinars yet, to this point? Talk through kind of the marketing. How are you getting the word out and the registration and kind of all of those pieces?
yeah. So I pay a marketing team to do all of our marketing. And we do all digital, all over
Okay.
social media platforms. Um, and we do them. My goal is to not have any expense on doing live events. So we don't offer any food, we don't offer any drinks. We do them at libraries, community centers, anything I can find that's got a big enough room that's free, I'm going to do it at. Now we've had to change that up a little bit as events are getting bigger. Like we have one next week. There's 360 some odd people registered to come to it, so we're having
Uh,
to do it at a banquet hall. But
okay.
still, we won't have any food. We won't have any drinks. It is an educational event, and we keep it to an hour, right
Okay.
on the dot. And it's a piece. So they go online and they hit, one of our links, go to one of our landing pages, and then we have a team on the backside we try to touch every person that registers 3 to 4 times before the event.
Okay. And so is that a team you built internally or something you found as a
Both.
marketer, kind of a blend of your team?
Yeah, it's a blend for sure. So
Okay.
we pay a marketing organization, and we're part of a marketing organization. And then my team, I've got 2 people in marketing just in my office, and their sole job is just outreach of prospects that register for events.
And so what is your usually once you have somebody that registers, what's your attendance look like? And in that hour event, tell us a little bit more of what you're doing there, how that process goes.
Yes, so our events, we average 80 to 100 signups for an event, and we will see about a 65 to 80% show rate. Um, we haven't done an event since June with less than 65, or I'm sorry, with less than 35 people in it.
Okay.
We've done them as big as 250. Um, and it's a pretty simple process. So I have my team, we set up a table, we make it real nice. When they come in, we have a nice tablecloth. We have roll-up banners that are outside the building, inside the building, inside the room, up at the front of the stage. Um, Everybody gets checked in when they walk in. We have a printout of everybody that's registered. So we highlight them and then we give them 3 pages. The first one is our most important page, is what we make, or not make, but what we encourage them to give back to us at the end of the presentation. It's got all of their information on it.
Okay.
And then we give them a notes page and then um, some marketing stuff on us. And so when they come in, they're typically meeting somebody that they've talked to already.
Okay.
The girls that are at my table are also the ones that are reaching out, and are the
Okay.
ones that are putting those initial touches on them. Um, I'm an, I, I'm maybe a little bit different than a lot of people. I'm in the front. I'm active, right? I'm not one of these that just waits and comes in at the very beginning. I'm walking around the room. I'm talking to people as they come in. I'm greeting them. Um, and then we get started. And I'm very, 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 very clear, and we set the expectation in the first 30 seconds of our presentation, of 2 things. One, it's an hour. We will be in and out of my presentation. Doesn't mean you'll be in and out of this room, but we'll be in and out of the presentation within an hour. 2, I am not an attorney. And 3, I talk fast. Those are my 3 disclaimers before I do it. And, I tell them, look, I think I go through 90 slides in an hour.
Okay. Oh, wow. You're
Um,
fine.
and yeah, so I'm flying. It's high energy. I don't necessarily hit every slide. I try not to. I hate
Hmm.
PowerPoint, so
Hmm.
it's really not my thing. But it's very high energy. I'm telling stories. I'm telling jokes. I'm getting interaction. I'm wanting them to see, and I'm telling them true stories of clients that have come in, of the nightmares of not having a plan, or the idea of having a plan. And I think what separates us from a lot of other people, because I've had a lot of people come to events, a lot of advisors inside of my IMO come to events and want to see and do the stuff that we do, is our transition um, to what we really do. right? And we
Yeah.
talk about how your retirement plan has to match and be a part of your estate plan, or you don't have a plan.
Yeah.
And so it's as easy, and that's my sentence. And
Interesting.
it's as easy as that, and that's all we do. That's all we say on it. Um, and so we lead with estate planning. So at the end of our presentation, we give everybody an opportunity. This is if you heard something that interested you or that made you have more questions or made you say, I need more information on that, we offer a free complimentary consultation. If you want to get on our calendar on your way out the door, turn in a piece of paper that we gave you when you came in. And if you say yes, we will get you on the calendar right then. If you don't want to wait in the line, somebody will call you within the next 48 hours.
And so that's awesome. Is the marketing messaging that you're doing out there, or your marketing team, is it understand, maybe give us some topics, or there's obviously a lot of
It's
different ways you
estate
can do
planning
it.
101.
Is it estate planning 101? What you need to know about estate planning is just
It
the
is
core
literally, I'm
message.
pretty positive my message is it's the same on all levels. I actually haven't looked at it in a while, but it is estate planning 101. The
Okay.
basics of probate, wills, and trust.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so, and that's mostly what's driving, that engagement. It's pretty simple. It's obviously
100%.
Facebook, Instagram, and you're also getting, I mean, you're obviously doing this local and it's this community. Are you getting a much engagement though beyond your community, and
Oh
how does
yeah.
that work?
Yeah, I mean
Because
we're
that
getting
you would do
called.
are you doing webinars at all that maybe to capture people outside of your area?
We've been asked. I just don't have time or really
Yeah.
interest. I hate cameras like this. I like to see people. I like to, um,
Yeah.
I like to get the interaction. Um, but what it has done is it's grown our network and our size, and we've opened a new office. We'll be opening three more offices next year of places of where people are reaching out to us and asking us to come to their
Okay.
towns. And so
Okay.
we are doing that. Once it hits enough of a level that it makes sense for me to dive into it, or maybe we test a market and see if an event will pull well. And if it pulls well on the first two, then we know that it's going to be something that will be worth our time and worth going and exploring and trying to, dive into that market.
And so and that kind of goes, I guess, to the estate planning topic, because you've been doing seminars for years and years. Maybe speak to that from a what you've seen bringing this estate planning 101 kind of conversation to a seminar, compared to, I mean, I'm assuming you're probably doing Social Security and some other ones as well, but talk about, that a little bit more in depth, the engagement around the topic of estate planning and why you think that resonates.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fully transparent. I have no idea why it resonates so well with people. But it pulls big numbers. And it's something that people want to know about, whether they're going through it or they've heard the nightmares of it or whatever it may be. And so when they come in, they kind of know what they're coming in for, right? Whereas sometimes when we do our Social Security events or our managing retirement events or a tax event, they think that we're just trying to sell them, our services. My presentations as a whole don't sell my services.
Hmm.
Um, it is not about me. It is education, and it is on the topic. But I leave a lot of hanging fruit for them to say, "Oh, I need to know more about that." I don't take any questions
Okay.
ever.
Interesting.
If they try to ask me a question, I shut it down and say, "I'm sorry, I don't take any questions." If you have questions, write it down. That's why I give you a note page, and then you'll have an opportunity to schedule time to come into my office afterwards. I've tried doing the questions thing in an event, and it was a total nightmare.
Oh
We
yeah.
went down the what if
The
questions
rabbit
and
hole.
rabbit holes, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I got
That's smart.
ADD, ADHD like nobody's ever seen. And so it was
I
real
bet.
easy for me to get off topic. Plus, it makes
Yeah.
it a lot longer than an hour
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
take
exactly.
questions.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Super smart.
so we give enough information to where they need to come see us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, now we have people all the time. I would say 95% of my events, I'll have one person at least after they come in, because they see the name of my company, which is Your Wealth Advisors. They'll come in, they'll get their packet, they'll register, they'll sit down, and then 5 minutes later, they'll come back to the desk and say, "What? I This isn't for me. I didn't. I'm here to learn about wills and trusts, not about my retirement." And we say, "You're in the right place. This is estate planning 101. We're not here to try to
Hmm.
get your assets. We're not here to do any of that. We're here to talk about wills and trusts." Or they'll come back in, and they'll try to turn in their paperwork at the very beginning before we've even started, saying no, they're
Oh,
not
okay.
interested in a consultation. And my staff is trained to be like, "Okay, well, that's wonderful, but just hold on to it, because you never know, right?" And I can tell you 98% of the time, and I know that number to a T because we track it, those no's always turn to yes every single
Interesting.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not about, it's not about me. There's two slides on me in the entire presentation. The
Hmm.
rest on my company, the rest of it is education. The rest of it is, um, you know, what they're there to learn about, and leaving enough hanging fruit to say, I don't know if you need a will, a trust, but I don't know. You need to sit down with somebody to figure it out. And I can't stand here in a group of 50 people and say that everybody needs a trust.
Hmm. Yep. So talk about that then, kind of the slide, and we have a couple questions on that. And actually, just so you know, at Encore, before we're done today, we actually have a deck, if you guys want it, that Encore's put together that you could use for seminars. That's a starting point. But maybe talk about yours, Ryan, just from an overview of, obviously you mentioned stories, you have some, and maybe how you make death funny, estate planning jokes that apparently you have.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about how the content that's there, is it what you have within your deck that you find resonates well with turning those people from not interested into I need to have a conversation.
Yeah. So I am a firm believer that however you set the stage is what's going to determine the outcome, right? So, I'm not a very serious person. I'm not a very smart person. I'm just very good at people,
Mm,
and very good at communicating what I think people want to hear. And so, it for me, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. In fact, I will a lot of times ask, "Are there any attorneys in the room?"
mm,
I've only ever had one attorney actually say they were an attorney, and I asked them if they wanted to come do the presentation, and I would sit down, um, and just to get kicks. But then I also lead it off with, we're here to talk about the most exciting thing that you could have probably dealt with all week, which is you dying. Um, and
yeah.
I just make jokes about, look, this is not something that's going to be fun, but it's something that you're going to face. And you didn't realize that dying would be so much fun, but I'm going to make this an entertaining and educational event. And I think by doing it with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm helps
Mm,
in that
yeah.
piece. It also helps that my PowerPoint, my slides are not all words. There's basic definitions of what is estate planning. We talk about what is their plan, what plans are available. I don't go into cost. From my side of things, we talk about the cost of probate. Um,
Hmm.
we talk about the value of time. We talk about, by not having a plan. I mean, I say this line probably 3 times, and I think it's one of the most powerful lines that we use. Is that by not having a plan, you're taking away the ability of your loved ones to mourn you. Because
Mm,
instead of mourning you, they're fighting the process of trying to get access to whatever it is that you had, or fighting the process of dealing with the court or dealing with attorneys. And it's a stressful matter. Um, and so, again, we leave it open-ended enough to where they want to come see us, right? We do
hmm.
talk about, you know, the average cost of plans with the attorneys, and I just go around, look, you know, again, I am very simple. I've been doing this for a long time and worked with a lot of
Yeah.
attorneys. Um, I just know what these guys charge. And if I don't know what they charge, if I'm going into a new town, I call 3 to 5 attorneys in the town and ask what they charge for estate plans, for a
Hmm.
simple will or for a revocable trust or an AB pour over or whatever. And I figure out what their prices are. And I tell the crowd, here's what your attorneys in town are going to charge, you know? If you decide you want to come and talk to us, we're not going to charge you a fee to sit down with us. We'll determine after we've met with you what that cost is. We give you two options. The first option is you can work with me as an intermediate or middleman between you and the attorney, and you get it at a discount. Or if you want to sit down with an attorney, that's totally fine with me too. I'll put you in the room with an attorney and you pay their hourly fee.
So yeah, talk about that. Is that something you're even bringing up within this session, or is that if you want to
No.
talk more about your estate planning needs, you bring up any options you have to help them through the process later?
Yes, I think that once they go through the presentation and they say yes or no, right? I also, I mean, I'll throw this out there. I was told that I probably shouldn't give away all my nuggets, but this is the downside of me doing these events. Um, it is, you got to make it fun, right? And you got to make it exciting. And so at the very end of my presentation, I talk about how we gave them a packet when they came into the room. And being that it was a free event, all we asked for in return is that first page back. And that first page has their information. And I tell them, don't worry if you don't want to give me your information. I've already got it. You're registered to come to the event. So don't worry about, we're not going to steal your information. You've already given it to us. You're
Hmm.
here, right? But what we want to know is, are you interested in a free complimentary consultation or not? It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. And I say it verbatim like this. I say, here's my promise to you. If you say yes, we say yes. If you say no, we say no. If you leave it blank, I have a team of people that will call you every hour on the hour just to hang up on you because you didn't take the time to say yes or no. And it always gets a room full of laughter. And then they always
Hmm.
ask, "Are you serious?" And I have, of course, I'm like, "No, we only have one person that does that. We don't have a team of people." Um, but it just kind of lightens the mood and takes the pressure off of them
Yeah,
thinking this guy's trying to sell me something. This guy
yeah,
wants something from me. That's not it.
yeah.
We want to educate. Education is the key of my seminars and my live events. When they come
So
into my office, it's a different
yeah.
world.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us that. I mean, how now you have your team, you have the forms back. Thanks for coming. Great day. Everybody moves on. Your team is now stepping into that gap of calling and booking times. Or are you sending calendar links for them to grab a time? How do you
We
execute
do it
on
all.
get
So
needity?
we do it all. So we try to book appointments there in
Hmm.
person at the event. Um, the problem
Okay.
we've run into is the line gets too long and people don't want to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if we can't book them there, we tell them we will call them within 24 hours.
Okay.
All right. We send a text message immediately thanking them for coming. Um, and in that text message, we'll say that somebody will call you within 48 hours.
Okay.
Right. And then my team calls them. If they say yes, we call them. If they say no, we shred them. We
Okay.
don't care. We're not chasing the no's. I don't want
Yep.
to, I'm not in the business of chasing people around. If they want to work with me, great. If they don't, great. Um, and I tell people all the time, I say, look, this is a speed date. You may love me, but if I don't like you, we're not working together.
Mm-hmm.
I only work with people that I like, and that may sound arrogant, but I'm not looking for any headaches.
Hmm.
I like to work with people that want to be helped and that I get along with, not somebody that I got to fight with to get the job done. So they book the appointment. Once the appointment's booked, we send an email on Friday for the following Monday and Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, we send a follow-up or a reminder email for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Um, just to get them in. So we book on average 70 to 75% of the people that show to our events will say
Wow.
yes. They want a complimentary consultation. And from that 70 to 75 piece, we'll book 80% of them. Okay.
Wow.
Um, and then we see probably around the 80 to 85% show rate of our first appointments.
Wow.
Okay. So
So you're
at
netting about 50, I guess, between that 40 to 50% of the people who are in the room you're going to be knee to knee with
yeah,
ish.
minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. And we weed out, right? So
Sure.
on our form, we kind of weed out. My team's job is to kind of, um, I don't want to say profile, but kind of weed out
Yeah.
who we don't think would be a good fit for us.
Yeah.
We don't want to waste their time, and we don't want to waste my time, or my team's time. And so just because they say yes, it doesn't mean that we call them, or
Yeah.
book them.
Are you asking more detailed questions on that follow-up form of assets they have
Yeah.
or so you're getting what you want to know from
Hmm.
is this
There's
uh
10 questions on it.
okay,
Um, and then at the very bottom has their assets, right? We give
okay,
a 0 to 250, 250 to 500, 5 to 750 or a
okay,
million plus, and just,
okay,
hope that they're going to market.
yeah,
Um, you know, Even if they don't market, we'll still call them. If they do market, obviously we call them.
hmm,
We are my bread and butter client is 55 and older.
okay,
So if we have people that are showing up to our events in their 40s, we
okay,
typically aren't we're not reaching out to them. We may reach out to them and let them know and then do like a WebEx or something with them with one of my
okay,
juniors. But
okay.
we're not scheduling them to come into the office.
Interesting. So yeah, because that opens up, and we've had a few questions here on kind of the marketing firm on the front end, because you're not doing mailers that would be specifically targeted to that demographic, and so you're getting everybody within that has any interest in estate planning, whether young or old, or assets or no assets.
Hmm.
Maybe talk about if you're willing to share the marketing firm you're working with, or whoever's kind of doing that internet marketing for you, and
Yeah,
then
so I mean, it's a mixture, right? I don't know that I'm gonna, because we have so many units that kind of piece it
okay.
together.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say: the difference I mean, we've done, I've used MBI, I've used White Glove, I've used everybody in
Okay.
20 years,
Okay.
right? That's out there.
Okay.
Um, Digital's half the cost,
Okay.
and you can reach 4 times the amount of people. That's why I do it.
And
I
so
don't I
that's
don't care
kind
if
of
they
you.
have 250, if they got I don't care if they got $500 or $5 million
Hmm.
dollars.
Yeah.
If I can help them and I can educate them, I'll do that. Right.
Yeah.
But I've learned a lot of times, and I have been reminded of this a lot in my business, that you can't judge a book by its
Hmm.
cover.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes those people that I would normally say no to are the ones that come in and they're my best clients. They got the most assets. Um, you just never know. And so my philosophy with people, and I'm a straight shooter, is look, I'll do an estate plan. My firm will do an estate plan for anybody. Okay. I
Hmm.
don't care if we like each other or not. If you need it and you want to pay for it, we'll do it. That does not mean that we have to work with you, or that we are willing to work with you on the financial side.
Okay. Okay. So that's part of it, is you're at least on that end helping them if that's their need, and they may
Yeah,
or may not be a fit for more of what you do. So
correct.
yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So the setting expectations. All right, that person is now knee to knee with you. You're hearing their questions for the first time. If there's a need for an estate plan, talk about this. We have a handful, a decent chunk of Encore users on our call today, but we have a lot who haven't used us before. How are you setting the expectation of your role here? You've already said up front you're not an attorney, you're not giving legal advice, but talk through the unauthorized practice of law expectation for the client, your role, Encore's role as you introduce that as a path to getting their plan done, helping them get their own plan done, really, is the
Yeah.
right way to say it.
So we, just like the president, just like my seminars, first 30 seconds of a one-on-one meeting, just as a reminder, we're not the attorney. We
Mm-hmm.
work with a group of attorneys, and we offer a couple different solutions for folks that decide they want to work with us. We'll go through this. If you need a plan, I'll tell you, I think you need a plan. If you don't need a plan, I will tell you, I don't think you need it. Um, but we make sure it is very crystal clear. We're not the attorneys. My job is to gather all of the information and determine if you need to sit down with attorney. And I always say the same thing is, look, no attorney I've ever met is going to do a free meeting. They don't do anything for free. And so we bridge that gap to allow you to figure out what type of plan you need, without having to charge you. All right. And so once we get the pleasantries out of the way, it's really all right. Tell me what are you wanting to accomplish? What makes you what made you? My question is, why did you go to an event on estate planning?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I make them answer, um, and by making them answer, I just don't say anything until they answer me. It can get awkward, but I love awkwardness. So
Mm-hmm.
and then once they tell me, kind of, well, I've been through probate with my mom, or I've heard the horror stories, or whatever, or I've got assets everywhere, or I just want to make it easy for my kids, then we go through and we build a fact finder. And we go through a collection of assets and say, okay, well, let's start with the basics. Tell me, you have your home. Is your home paid for? And then I just work my way down my fact finding list. All right. In that, obviously, is going to be assets. Um, and if they kick back and say, well, why do you need my assets? It's very simple because if I don't know what you have, how can I tell you if you need a plan?
Mhm.
Right. Um, and so we do it a couple of different ways. I'll pivot sometimes once I get to the assets and dig a little bit deeper into the
Mhm.
assets. Then we go through income, all
Okay.
right, to see if they can even afford anything. And then we go back and say, okay, well, here are your options. As I said earlier, we offer a couple of options to people that come into this office. Number one is you can work with me or somebody on my team as your middleman, and we use a third-party company called Encore Estates. In the event that you want to go this route, it's a set fee. It doesn't matter how many times we meet or how many meetings that we have or how many changes that we need to make. You're going to pay one price. If you say to me, no, 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 I would rather sit down with an attorney, then I'm totally fine with that too. I'm going to place you with an attorney and we'll make sure that you get the plan that goes into that. Just understand you're going to have to pay their hourly fee for every time that you meet with them, and every minute is an hour. So it doesn't matter to me which way you
Mhm.
go. These are going to be your two options. In the event that you choose option one, this is the plan that I think you need, whether it's, a simple will plan or a trust plan. And here's our breakdown of cost. Our costs range anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. It just depends on total assets and what it is that they are looking to do and how much work it's going to take and all that kind of fun stuff.
And so, how are you articulating kind of that breakdown? Obviously, you're explaining Encore's on the back end, the document provider, the software layer that is there, and then kind of your planning fee. Is that, and I'm assuming you're using as well the disclosures up front on, hey, this is my role, not providing legal advice, helping you to
Yep.
gather your decisions up, can educate you, but can't tell you what I think you should do. Here's that cost for us to help you get through that process.
Yeah, so part of it is that we have a letter of engagement that goes through all of our disclosures for our
Okay.
RIA and all of the things that we do and don't do. We also go through and tell, multiple times talk about how we're not the attorneys, we're not giving you the legal advice, we're just the note taker, if you will, and then
Hmm.
we're handing it over to either Encore or the attorneys, and they're putting it together. And we'll give a letter of instruction or a letter breakdown of a fact finder in a letter form to give them the idea of what it is. But when they come into our meetings, they already have a packet that we give them in the seminar. And in that packet, in that folder, there's an estate planning packet that they fill out. And it's got all of our information that we need, all of the information that is
Okay.
going to tie directly into Encore, and into the interface that we have to then put everything into. Um, and so a lot of times people will ask me, well, how do we get started? So we got to fill out that packet because I need all of that information. It's not
Hmm.
something you can do right now because it's 13 pages long. And then you got to pay.
Okay.
And it's, a lot of times they'll come in with the packet filled out, or they will set a meeting right then and there to come back and talk about it.
Okay. And so from there, you're executing on the rest of it. Everything goes into Encore. Documents come back. You guys are downloading documents, sharing those with clients. How has this gone from a we solved for that initial need pain point, and this is kind of I think the beauty of it, the time to value. You've delivered value really quickly. They've got to know you pretty well. How does that then transition to the rest of their wealth
Yeah.
management conversations? Because you're doing something different and unique here, and we see some advisors just making huge strides, leading with estate planning as the initial engagement and solving for that, and then now picking up the here's some other areas. Is it what you uncover in the fact finding and the understanding what they need that then opens up to say, have you thought about this? Have you considered insurance? Do you have life insurance? Where do you kind of blend in those next things that you're going to? Obviously, you added $25 million in the last 6 months doing this, and there's probably more to come. How does that transition? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so our model is old school and how we do our fact finding. It's pen and paper. Um, and it's all questions. It's all open-ended questions for everything that we do. I teach my team that if you make statements, you kill conversations and kill opportunities. So it's only
Mm,
questions. Um, and so as we're going through the fact finder and we ask them, okay, well, tell me about your home. Is it paid for? If not, how much do you owe? What's the payment? Is it all, is it escrowed? How's it titled? What happens to the house upon the second passing, or what happens upon the first passing? Talk to me about your assets. What do you have in, retirement? What do you have in the bank? What do you have in this? Well, what's the plan? What do you want that to be doing? How's that been working for you? When did you last talk to your advisor? Are you happy with your advisor? And look, it's a mixed bag, right? Of what you're going to
hmm
get. We get everything from I love my advisor to I hate my advisor, to people that come in on first meeting with statements, that they're just like here and they throw it all up to you on the first
On day right
page.
out of the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just a kind of a mix of it, but it's,
Yeah.
again, similar to my seminar, it's an open end, right? It's a question to make them um, say what they're either happy or unhappy about.
Mm,
And if they say something that triggers an unhappiness, then we say,
mm,
we follow it, right? Well, tell me why is that going on? Obviously, everybody right now is happy because the markets have done so well,
yeah. Yeah.
right? And so we just asked the question, well, what do you think is going to happen if the markets don't continue to go well? Again, open-ended question, but it's a question that they then have to think about. Um,
hmm
and we just it's a questionnaire that is constant. And then at the end of that first meeting, whether they move forward on the estate side or not, we're bringing back up the investments. Well, here's as an opportunity, what we would love is an opportunity to do a free review of your investments. And we'll put together a team. I have a team of CFPs that will put together a free analysis, and you can come back in and we'll go over all of your investments. All I need is a statement from you. While we're working on your estate plan and getting all those documents put together with our team, we'll also do the analysis of your investment plan, and we'll have two separate meetings for you to come back to do a review on your estate and a review on your retirement. And it's just seamless because they go hand in
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you've kind of nailed, I think, what we've seen a few other firms, and you're doing it just beautifully in that the estate planning experience you're able to deliver and solve for that need. That is the fact finder. You're learning everything that matters, not only, what they have and where they are, but where are their gaps. You're able to peel back what is the thing that's not is an issue for them, and introduce your ability to engage them in those ways. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I look at our business as, almost like a detective, right? You're trying to
hmm
uncover opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's not, most people aren't going to tell you that they're unhappy with something because they don't want to, they're either embarrassed or they don't know or they
Yeah.
don't, whatever it may
Yep.
be. And so, I've just learned, my technique over the years is it's just a question technique. It's a very laid back. I
hmm
sit like I'm sitting right now, laid back in my chair, reclined with my legs crossed typically. Um, and I'm very good about just shutting up and just waiting, right? Because you can't expect someone to answer some of these questions immediately. They got to process it, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
if I jump right into another question, then they're gonna not answer my previous question. And so, there's a lot of time to where we're just sitting there staring at each other. Um, but those are the
Good in
ones
silence.
that turn into the best clients.
Yeah. Interesting. That's awesome. This is super helpful. And so at the end of the day, it seems like you've cracked open something that you've been working on for years. It sounds like you've used a lot of different seminar platforms, and you've kind of found your own way. There were a couple of questions related to that. If you're willing to share how much you're spending on digital media marketing, is it mostly Facebook, or where do you go beyond that? You said something about billboards as
Yeah,
well. There are
so
a few questions on some of that, how you're promoting your
it's
sessions.
Facebook and what's the other one? Instagram.
Yep.
That's 99% of it. We also have billboards.
Okay.
Um, I think we're up to four, 3 or 4 billboards. We're trying to add a couple more. Um, but the billboards, every once in a while, like if we're doing a big event, we'll put an ad out on one of our billboards, on one of our digital boards that just says if it's near that event,
Okay.
they can register for it. And it has, our website or a phone number that they can call. But I would say most of it is digital. I have no idea what we spend. I would say it's on average per event $5,000 to $6,000 with venue
Okay.
cost and digital cost,
Okay.
if I had to
So
guess.
that's way better than the meals. The
Yeah,
stamps.
I mean,
That
for
would be,
mailer alone
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to mail a 5,000 mail piece, you're at 6 grand typically right off the
Yeah.
cusp, and then you got to
Yeah.
pay your event piece, and then you got to, if you're doing a meal, you're going to pay and then look, I used to do it,
Yep.
man. I used to spend ten to
Yeah.
$15,000 per event,
Yeah.
and I would do it every week,
Yeah.
um, and that's a tough grind, and it's a tough business, and it's expensive, and
Hmm.
so. I just tried to flip the script and say, okay, well, let's see what would happen if I quit feeding people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they show up.
And with good content, you're doing roughly the same, would you say the same content? And
It's identical. Yeah.
that's that's great.
Nothing
And so
changes in my presentations.
yeah.
I mean, if you were to see my presentation that I have tomorrow, it would be exactly the same one I had yesterday.
Okay.
The jokes are the same, the lead-ins are the same, the closes, there is nothing
Hmm.
different. I have it down to, I don't need a slide deck. I do that just because it's fun and
Sure.
it gives me something to get mad at when my clicker doesn't work. But I don't need it. I have it memorized to a T with how I project my voice and how I do this and that and the other because, look, it's a show at the end of the day,
Hmm.
right? You're trying to capture someone's attention. Um, and I think that is what separates us from everybody else is
Yeah.
I don't care to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
You know, I care to give the information and then they do with it what they want. And you'll
Yep.
find, and what we have found and what you guys have seen is, people care about this stuff. They care about their
Hmm.
families. They care about their assets. They care about protecting it. And they're hearing horror stories of what probate is
Yep.
like,
Yep.
and so we just talk through it as a conversation, just at a high level. Um, and then when they come into the office, it's the same thing. It's, let's talk through it. What do you want? I don't care. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what I want for you, right? I want everybody to have a plan. But if you don't need a plan, who am I to tell you you need one?
Yep. Yep. No, and you're exactly right. And it's actually a part of our term of service. You're not here selling estate plans. You're here. Do you have a need? Here's a path to get you through what you haven't gotten through. And somebody they like and trust who can give good information is what most people need just to be able
Right.
to finally get through the process. And some people are a better fit for attorneys, but for a lot of people, this is a great path. And so let me talk through this real quick because we do have a lot of people who aren't even familiar with what Encore does. And maybe you could start us off here. You've looked at other platforms. What is it about Encore that for you has made this work in ways that maybe other software that's been out there for a long time hasn't solved for it? Talk through why Encore from your
Yeah. So
perspective.
there are a couple things that drove me to Encore. I've used 3 other services. Quality of documents was the biggest piece for me. So what I do is, before I chose a platform is I did a plan on, a template plan basically on myself.
Okay.
And then I sent it to my personal attorney and said, "What do you think about this?" And he said, I would use that plan. I think that's good." And so once I got his approval, I knew that it would be a good fit and it would be comparable to what they would experience with other groups in my area. Um,
Hmm.
the other piece that really drove me to it is the communication with your team. Um, whether I send an email to support or I'm on the live chat, it's an instant return. Um, I am the world's worst if I'm the one putting the information into the platform on spelling. I'll fat finger a keyboard like nobody's business. And y'all's team is immediate and very quick on saying, "Hey, are you sure this is how that name is spelled? Because there's a weird letter in there, or you know." And so the communication is ultimately very, very, very good.
Mm.
Um, but then I also like the turnarounds. I think one of the things that is so powerful about what we do and using you guys as the piece to it is our quickness, our turnaround. And I tell
Mm.
everybody that from payment to draft is no more than 10 business days. Um, and so that to draft, that doesn't mean it's executed in that time frame, but that for them to
Yeah.
get their first draft for us to go through it together. And people appreciate that, because
Yeah.
I mean, I know attorneys that drag this stuff out for
Hmm.
a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so those are the ultimate pieces that have drawn us to you guys and what will be what keeps us, with Encore.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I think I shared the wrong screen. Let me share up. I'll talk through a couple of these pieces for those who aren't familiar with Encore at all and kind of what it is we do. We help you as advisors step into this gap and where 67% of Americans don't have an estate plan and the need is out there. That's why they're showing up to your seminar. How can you step into this gap and facilitate a high quality experience for them? Staying in your lane, not practicing law. But we do that from everything from one of the options too, we didn't talk about it, Ryan, but is you can upload existing documents and we will extract all the information and provide a nice visual one-page summary. We're obviously here where clients are able to use us as a Scrivener service, their information into our system. We create new documents, new wills and trust-based estate plans. We do powers only as well. It's also the funding. We haven't talked about that, Ryan, and maybe I know it's a big part of what you're doing is making sure properties and businesses are funded into the trust. Maybe talk about deed filing for a second here.
Yeah, so that is a very big part of our process. We talk about it in the presentation that you can't just have a document um, and then never put anything into your document. Otherwise, you just have a lot of expensive paper. And
Yep.
so we include in our packaging, in our pricing, if you will, um, the deed work
Okay.
through using you guys.
Yeah.
Um, and so, um, we express the need and we express the importancy of doing it.
Hmm.
And we have, lots of people that are like, no, I'll just do it myself.
Yep.
Um, and we do our best to kind of talk them out of that.
Like, will you
Just
actually?
right, right,
We have the best
because
intentions, but they don't.
I mean, every week I see people come into my office with expensive plans that don't have
Hmm.
anything in them.
Yep.
And their
Yep.
homes have never been quit claimed, their car titles have never been changed,
Yep.
nothing has been done. They just have this expensive and very nicely put together plan, but at the end
Yep.
of the day, they have a bunch of holes in their plan.
It's an empty safe, as we call it.
Yeah.
The document's a safe, and you haven't put anything in it. And so, actually, don't hesitate to use us for our standalone deed filing too. So, if you have somebody who has an existing document that's never been funded, we'll do the deed filing just for that, and without the new document too. And so, solving that, you're helping them get something funded that's never been funded. Huge, huge opportunity, for
Yeah.
filling a hole there as well with an existing document. And so that comes up a lot when we do those visual summaries of existing documents. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. The
Yeah.
and the ability here that once it's digitized, it's all in our platform, the ability to mend it in the future. I don't know if you haven't been around long enough yet, but you're going to have clients who want to make changes over time. And now that it's digitized, how simple it becomes when you can easily update documents going forward.
Yeah.
And so and you mentioned it. One of the key differences, there's a lot of software only platforms. We're the only one that does that human review. So we're checking the spelling, we're checking all these little details. Somebody names a 23-year-old as a trustee, and then they give a distribution age out to age 35. those could be issues when they're 25 and they can distribute whatever they want to themselves. We catch all those little nuances with our human review, and it enables that customization. So we're really unique in those two pieces, I think, from what a lot of how we get compared to other software platforms. Advisor driven, obviously, you're able to facilitate the experience for the client. That's part of the great experience. And as you know, we're pay as you go. We don't charge a platform fee at Encore. We only get paid when we do a plan. And so our job is to come alongside you, help you out as you go here. We talked about deed filing, the funding component of this. If it's a trust with no property into it, that's a probate experience that someone's going to be very upset with the person who helped them get a document that didn't get funded. And so those are key pieces. On-course pricing, just so everybody knows, that visual summary that we can provide on an existing document, we just charge $150 anytime we do that. Our price January 1 is $650 for a trust-based estate plan with all those documents included. Wills are $400. And amendments, any future updates are now super affordable. To keep the documents up to date across time is $150. Most states are $300 for our deed filing service in addition. So if they have that property that needs to be moved into the trust. And so pay as you go, easy to access our system. Last things as we close up here, we wanted to give you, Victor, if you could throw up that poll question. We wanted to give anybody here who's interested in finding a path to kind of maybe creating their own seminar. We'll give you a start on the deck. And so there's a poll question coming up. If you can answer that, if you're interested, we'll share with you kind of a template deck that Encore's created that you could use in a webinar or seminar environment and just provide, like Ryan's talked about, great content. And so answer that poll question and we'll make sure we email that. If you're an existing Encore user, we are going to be uploading this into our knowledge base in the client-facing resources here soon as a resource for you. You know, this is obviously built for you to go and build your own, put your own stories in it. But it's kind of that template starting point. You don't have to start from scratch. I know, Ryan, you've probably worked hard across many years kind of building out all those little nuances in your deck. So we just want to give everybody a starting point. We have hundreds of resources like this in our knowledge base that's available to advisors to build out all the resources and content around getting clients through the process as well. So this is just one more we're adding there. Let us know in that poll question if you want to have us email that over to you so you have something to start from. We're also going to give a couple of things here just as we finish up. If you're interested in learning more about Encore, you can create a free account. It's absolutely no cost to get started in having an account in Encore. You get access to our knowledge base, access to our support team, and we have a bunch of training and launch resources there. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to create your account at Encore. The first 5 advisors who are on our call today that jump in and create their account, we're going to give you a credit for a free visual summary where you can take a client's existing documents, upload it to us. We'll give you back a 1-page, nice flowchart summary of their estate plan. And we just want to give you that as a, hey, jump in, maybe you'll take action. So you can go to EncorEstatePlans.com right at the top, create your free account. Take 3 or 4 minutes, walk through that process right now. The first 5 there, we're going to give you a credit for a free estate plan summary. The second step there is jump in and book a demo. Right on the top, you'll see book a demo with our team. We'll walk you through the platform. We just wanted to be high level here with Encore today and get all of Ryan's good insights to you. If you're creating an account today or later, there's an affiliation code that you need to use. And we want to we're super grateful to Ryan for peeling back so much of what he's doing here. When you're creating your account, put in the affiliation code, friend of Ryan C. And if you do that, we're going to give you 50% off your first will or trust-based estate plan. And so that's kind of the quick way to take action to get an initial plan through. We do a lot of advisors plans for that 50% off. If you haven't done your own or there's somebody in your office, take advantage of 50% off a will or trust-based plan at Encore. And like Ryan did, you ran a plan, you gave it to an attorney, you got feedback. You're not the only one that's done that, but that's a great process to run for yourself. And so we want to give you 50% off in doing that. So Ryan, as we finish up, we're at the top of the hour. I just want to say thank you again, your generosity here in sharing, what you're doing. There's a lot to this that you've built. It's super impressive. We're excited to see your growth because there's going to be a ton of growth for your firm, your team, as you go. And so thank you, man, for being willing to share at a detailed level how you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And, feel free to share my email if anybody wants it. I
Okay.
do have to jump off. I've got clients
Yep.
sitting out here waiting on me, but I
All right.
appreciate the opportunity. And I think it was a good hour well spent.
Yeah, absolutely. Super grateful for your partnership. Look, have a great holiday. Good luck this weekend. Go
Yeah,
dogs.
go
We'll
dogs.
be thinking of you as you go up against Alabama.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks everybody
Uh,
for attending. Let us know if you have any questions. You can reach us at EncorEstatePlans.com.